Dear colleagues, I would like to present the results of the research on the use of ICT by teachers for the development of students' critical thinking in the context of sustainable development in Ukraine. Starting from 24th February 2022, the date of Russian military invasion in Ukraine, our pupils and teachers felt not only the consequences after the long quarantine period, but also the consequences of military actions that continue to this day. Nevertheless, the Ukrainian school entered the second phase of the implementation of the new Ukrainian school reform. This means that today the content of school programs is being updated and the transition to new textbooks, new online learning resources and new active learning methods is taking place. Among the priorities of the reform is the development of soft skills, including critical thinking as the main component of such skills. The Sustainable Development Goals that the United Nations adopted require profound transformations in every country. This includes contributing to Goal 4, which is related to education, namely to equal access for all. The structure and the purpose of the research is to examine how teachers in Ukraine use ICT to foster students' critical thinking in the context of sustainable development, and the research questions are: what are the forms of education today to foster the development of critical thinking? What online instruments do teachers use to conduct lessons? And what are the students' activities related to this? What are the ICT resources and tools for developing critical thinking and skills? We also examined teachers' needs in the professional development and practical examples for further developments. To better understand the specific needs of teachers in 2022 and in 2024 and in this year, we conducted a public survey to identify the requirements. The situation is the following. According to the Ministry of Education data for February 2024, there are 12,926 general secondary educational institutions operating in Ukraine today, of which there are approximately 4 million students complete general secondary education. 72,700 students are from the temporary occupied territory. 905 general secondary institutions are located in the temporary occupied territories. You can see the situation by the regions, and all these circumstances put teachers and schools in a situation where some of them are forced to study online and in a mixed format. You can see this from the slide, and moreover, more than 500,000 school children and more than 12,000 of teachers continue now to stay abroad. Critical thinking is a subject of a cognitive psychology which is projected onto the pedagogical sphere, and it is defined as the process and practice of examining evidence to arrive at informed decisions and beliefs. This process involves reviewing the evidence and examining the problem from different perspectives. The ways in which critical thinking can be developed in education are the following: encourage students to ask questions, teach students to evaluate information, teach students to analyze information, encourage students to think creatively, provide opportunities for reflection, and teach students to communicate effectively. The quality of education is closely related to the use of digital tools by teachers now, and these tools have become indispensable to meet various societal needs by transforming educational practices. They also contribute to creating learning opportunities and promoting inclusive education. Furthermore, digital tools help reduce social and economic inequalities, thereby promoting equality of opportunities. The most successful techniques for the formation of critical thinking are brainstorming, clusters, working in pairs, associations. Using ICT capabilities, the teacher can involve students in creating blogs, web applications, presentations, playcasts, exhibitions, electronic libraries, etc. These forms of organizing work with the class can be used in the process of mastering any educational subject. For the successful use, it is necessary to rethink the content of the educational materials and the methods as well. The teacher should approach thematic planning from a different point of view. New and interesting forms of working with students are the use of virtual and augmented reality, for example, and artificial intelligence. It is difficult for teachers to do this when the mixed form of education or distance learning prevails. In this context of the specific stages of the formation of students' critical thinking with the use of digital tools, it is worth paying attention to the relationships and interactions between the teacher and students. This figure that you can see in the slide highlights the following main positions. The sequence of the teacher's actions for the development of student critical thinking stages, forms, methods, and techniques of using ICT to work with students, and digital tools that allow teacher to apply new forms or learning for the development of critical thinking. All the mentioned positions are interconnected, you can see this, and allow us to follow the relationships and interactions of the teacher and student in the learning process. It was found that critical thinking develops in the process of creating new content by students thanks to the creation of, for example, cartoons, web applications, blogs, animated videos, scrapbooks, presentations, libraries, exhibitions, and participation in competitions. Students acquire new information and master digital technologies. Working on a joint educational project, for example, can encourage participation in creative competitions. Learning material becomes more interesting because it is studied in more detail by a group of students or a pair of students with common interests. In this way, students can develop critical thinking. For example, a teacher in a computer science in computer science class may not just teach material on the subject of information security, which is the subject of study in the 5th, 9th grades, basics of information security. Such lesson can be built in such a way that it is an active participation of students in discussion or, for example, in the web quest or in a game, together in a group or microgroup onto which the class is divided. Students can play an educational game, safety on the internet, or the teacher can stimulate discussion and teach students to express their points of view, to try to listen to others and to correctly treat the opposite point of view, what does not coincide with their own. You should come to the common conclusion or refute these false theses, false narratives, arguing it with the concrete facts. Among the practical tasks that stimulate students' critical thinking, one can include, for example, questions related to on how recognize fake information. All these methods can be applied to different subjects: mathematics, science, language, arts, and social studies. Such resources can be found on educational resources, Ukrainian educational resources such as Всеосвіта, Naurok, and other web pages. It contains different materials for teachers and for students. To find out the state of use of digital tools by teachers today, it is necessary to turn to the current research that was mentioned, that shows which tools are most popular among teachers today. In 2023, the Institute of Digitalization of Education of the National Academy of Educational Science of Ukraine, I mentioned already, conducted a Ukrainian survey, readiness and needs of teachers regarding the use of digital tools and ICT in conditions of war. Participants from all regions of Ukraine took part in the survey. For example, in 2022, the number was 54,254, and in 2023 42,708. The diagram that you see on the slide shows the results of the survey conducted in 2023. It was found out that the following digital tools are mostly used by teachers to organize distance learning. As you can see on this figure: Viber, Zoom, Google for Education, Diary, learning apps, Telegram, website of the educational institutions. You can see also the other instruments on this diagram. We would like to come to the conclusion that the issue of supporting teachers in the use of digital means and tools for conducting lessons is extremely relevant today. Critical thinking as a component of soft skills should be included in all teacher professional development programs, taking into account mandatory training in the forms and methods of using digital tools for the formation of students' critical thinking, and not only. And we see the further research to monitor how teachers use ICT tools to promote critical thinking, the issue of monitoring the practice of teachers to form critical thinking using ICT, the creation of online networks for sharing positive experience, the development of special professional programs of these issues, and the involvement of teachers all these require further research. I would like to summarize that supporting teachers in the use of digital means now in the condition of war for the development of critical thinking and for the delivery of different kinds of activities for students is extremely important. Today, in the situation that Ukraine try to acquire a high level of the quality of education. Thank you very much for the attention, and I'm ready to listen to your questions.